We've all been there, scrolling through social media, perhaps unwinding after a long day, or catching up on the weekend. Then it appears. That ad, that email, that compelling story from a distant acquaintance. It promises you can get rich quick with seemingly little effort. It whispers about huge returns in a short time, often followed by an intense, almost frantic pressure to act now, before this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity vanishes forever. But what if I told you that this pervasive sense of urgency isn't a coincidence? What if it's not a genuine limitation, but a deliberately crafted trap? The truth is this urgency, this manufactured deadline, is the #1 trick in the scammer's playbook. And today we are going to expose it. Welcome to Broken Blueprint. Our mission is to provide you with the blueprint for spotting the con before it spots you. We analyze the tactics, expose the lies, and tell the stories that arm you with the knowledge to protect your ambition and your future. If you want to stay one step ahead of the deception, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Maybe as an educated professional, your experience has already taught you that sustainable wealth is built on skill, consistency, and diligent effort, not shortcuts. You see the online ads, the promises of financial freedom, or making money while you sleep, and you rightly dismiss them. The narrative of overnight success is not only misleading, it's something you've learned to filter out. You're too smart for that, right? But here's the critical insight that even the most skeptical among us can overlook. Vulnerability to these tactics has nothing to do with a lack of intelligence. It's about a lack of immunity to specific cognitive biases. Scammers are masters of applied psychology, and their primary tool is the scarcity principle. By manufacturing a false sense of urgency, a limited time offer, a closing window, or the threat of a missed opportunity, they intentionally trigger our inherent fear of missing out or FOMO. This creates an emotional state that makes it difficult, if not impossible, to process information logically. It's a vulnerability that exists in all of us, regardless of our education, our career success, or how many degrees hang on our wall. By the end of this video, you won't just have a list of schemes to avoid. You'll have a framework for pattern recognition. I'm going to give you the cognitive science behind the con, showing you how scammers exploit the very wiring of our brains to create a state of emotional arousal that overrides rational processing. This is the key to inoculating yourself against even the most sophisticated pitches. I'm curious, where are you watching from? What's the weather like there? Drop a comment below and let me know. And while you're at it, have you ever felt pressured into a decision by a limited time offer that, in hindsight, felt a bit off? Share your experience. Today, we're not just exposing the scams. We're dissecting the psychological exploit they're built on. Let's start with the hard evidence. Regulatory bodies like the FTC, FBI, and FINRA are constantly battling the urgency trap. They see it woven into almost every type of investment fraud, from complex Ponzi schemes to the latest cryptocurrency scams. It's a universal language for fraudsters because it works. Take the case against Learn Incorporated, a company promoting business coaching schemes. The FTC's official complaint detailed how Learn allegedly used false urgency. They would routinely and falsely state that Learn has limited capacity to work with new customers, pressuring consumers to purchase their expensive courses. Think about that for a moment. Limited capacity for a digital product that can be sold infinitely? This isn't about supply and demand. It's about manufacturing panic. This tactic preys on our desire for exclusive access, to be part of an inner circle. It whispers, if you don't act now, someone else will take your spot. It's a powerful psychological lever, especially for those of us who are ambitious, always looking for an edge, a way to optimize our professional or financial growth. Now, let's pivot to the booming world of digital assets. The FBI explicitly warns the public about the scarcity tactic in cryptocurrency investment fraud. They state that scammers will create a false sense of urgency by stating that returns or investment opportunities are only available in a short time period. They promise unbelievable daily returns, but only if you get in today. They paint a picture of exponential growth, but only if you make the decision right now. This isn't just about crypto. It's a classic sign of many get-rich-quick schemes. This urgency trap extends to everyday deceptions, making them even more insidious because they often catch us off guard. What happens when this same psychological weapon is aimed at something as fundamental as finding a roof over your head or securing your next career move? You might be surprised how easily the urgency trap can spring. We'll explore that right after this. Welcome back. We've seen how the urgency trap is deployed in large-scale investment fraud and business coach scams. But its true power lies in its versatility. It can infect almost any interaction, turning legitimate opportunities into dangerous pitfalls. Let's look at some relatable scenarios that specifically target the need for basic security and opportunity. On Reddit, one user recounted a chilling experience. After a suspicious property tour, the scammer called and insisted on being on the phone with me while I sell her the $150 application fee. Try to rush the payment before the victim had time to think, to verify, to even breathe. This isn't about efficiency. It's about manufacturing urgency through direct phone pressure, forcing an immediate financial decision without due diligence. They push because they know if you pause, if you think logically, the scam falls apart. The target here isn't just your money. It's your need for housing, your desire for stability. For someone relocating for a new job, perhaps, or navigating a competitive housing market in a new city, the appeal of a perfect place available right now is incredibly potent. The scammer knows this and exploits that urgency. Then there's the fake job offer scam. Another Reddit user described a scenario where a scammer sent a fraudulent check and then pressured them to immediately wire a portion of the money back to a vendor or for equipment before the check had time to clear, let alone bounce. This sense of urgency is the key to making the fake check scam work. The scammer creates a positive emotional high. You've got the job, then immediately injects urgency, demanding quick action to capitalize on the opportunity. It bypasses critical thinking by appealing to your excitement and your desire to start this new, promising chapter in your career. Think about it. An employer who genuinely wants to hire you will understand the need for verification and a proper onboarding process. Any pressure to move money before a check clears, or any demand for immediate payment for equipment, should raise a giant red flag. But in the rush of excitement, those flags can be easily overlooked. The urgency trap isn't always about the initial buy-in either. It could be a sustained campaign of pressure. A user shared a story of how his brother was scammed through a fake crypto investment group on WhatsApp. The core of the scam was that the fraudsters kept pressuring him to send more money, creating a constant sense of missed opportunity if he didn't increase his stake, until he was completely drained. This isn't just about an initial hook. It's about weaponizing urgency to escalate investment fraud over time, slowly bleeding the victim dry. What do all these examples have in common? They exploit a psychological trigger. But what exactly is that trigger? And how does it work inside our own heads? The answer lies in how our brains are wired. Prepare to understand the hidden architecture of persuasion and how scammers dismantle our rational defenses with one simple trick. The psychology behind the urgency trap is far more sophisticated than you might imagine. We'll delve into it next. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Broken Blueprint. We've seen the urgency trap in action, from business coaching schemes to rental scams and investment fraud. Now, let's pull back the curtain and look at the actual neuroscience at play. Because understanding why these tactics work is your ultimate defense. At its core, the urgency trap leverages what Dr. Robert Cialdini, a renowned psychologist, popularized as the Scarcity Principle. This principle dictates that people assign more value to opportunities that are less available. Scammers exploit this by creating a time limitation. Sales ends Saturday, or this offer expires at midnight, to ignite a sense of urgency and effectively short-circuit our rational thought processes. We perceive something as more valuable simply because it's limited, not because of its intrinsic worth. This isn't just about a good deal. It's about activating a primal fear of loss. We are, psychologically speaking, more motivated to avoid losing something than we are to gain something of equal value. When faced with a perceived limited opportunity, our brain screams, "Act now, or you'll regret it." And that scream is often fueled by another powerful psychological phenomenon, the fear of missing out. Scammers know that creating a false sense of urgency triggers FOMO. This bypasses our logical brain and makes us act on emotion. As one source notes, scammers exploit the fear of missing out, FOMO, to lure individuals into investing without proper due diligence. This is crucial. When FOMO takes hold, our prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain responsible for planning, decision-making, and impulse control, takes a back seat. Instead, our amygdala, the part of our brain involved in processing emotions like fear, takes over. We become reactive, not reflective. Have you ever felt that intense pang of what if I miss out when you see a limited time offer, even if you don't really need the product? That's FOMO. Scammers weaponize that exact feeling. How many of you are watching this on your phone right now? Or on a smart TV? Let me know in the comments. And more importantly, have you ever caught yourself almost falling for an urgent offer, only to realize later it was a tactic? Tell us your story. Your insights help us all build a stronger defense. High-pressure tactics are also designed to overwhelm you. Scammers may use confusing language, complex jargon, or rapidly fire off a barrage of benefits to prevent you from asking questions or critically evaluating their claims. They'll tell you about proprietary algorithms, exclusive access, or a revolutionary system. Anything to make you feel like you're not smart enough to question it, and that time is running out to understand it. The goal is to get you into an emotional, superficial state of mind rather than a logical one. They overload your brain with information and urgency, making rational processing impossible. This is why clarity is often the first casualty of a scam. If something is truly beneficial, it should be explained simply and transparently, with ample time for questions and due diligence. The moment clarity is sacrificed for speed, alarm bells should be ringing. Finally, the urgency tactic is especially effective on people experiencing financial hardship or those at a crossroads in their career. Psychologist Anna Surgeon explains that people in this situation may adopt a hopeful way of thinking and believe they deserve to be lucky finally, making them more vulnerable to a once-in-a-lifetime offer. Scammers understand this deep-seated human need for hope, for a breakthrough, and they weaponize it with urgency. They make you believe this is your only chance to escape your current circumstances to achieve that aspirational goal. Many discussions on forums like Reddit highlight that desperation and the fear of missing out, FOMO, are what make these pressure tactics so effective. One user notes that scammers play on impatience, FOMO, and hope, while another points out that when you're desperate and feel like you're out of options, you're real susceptible to falling for a new scam. This isn't a judgment. It's a profound insight into human psychology that scammers ruthlessly exploit. So, if the urgency trap is so powerful, how do we dismantle it? How do we build that cognitive immunity? The good news is, once you recognize the patterns, you can rewire your brain to spot the con before it spots you. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Coming up, your toolkit for defense. Welcome back to Broken Blueprint. We've meticulously dissected the urgency trap, exposing its psychological roots and its pervasive presence in everything from Ponzi schemes to everyday job scams. Now, it's time to equip you with the practical tools to break its spell. This isn't about being paranoid, it's about being prepared. The first and most crucial defense, the 24-hour rule. Anytime you encounter an offer that demands immediate action, whether it's a business coaching scam, an urgent investment opportunity, or even a seemingly legitimate but high-pressure sale, impose a mandatory 24-hour waiting period before making any commitment or payment. If the deal is genuinely good, it will still be there in 24 hours. If it's a scam, the scammer will likely disappear, or their urgency will intensify to an unsustainable degree, further exposing their true intentions. This pause allows your rational brain to re-engage, overriding that amygdala-driven emotional response. I challenge you, try this rule for a week, even on seemingly harmless limited-time offers. You'll be amazed at how many urgent opportunities suddenly lose their luster. Next, independent verification. This is your fact-checking superpower. Don't rely on the information provided by the person or entity pressuring you. For any investment fraud claim, check with FINRA, the SEC, or a reputable financial advisor. For a rental scam, verify the property owner. Visit the property in person, if safe, and never pay a deposit before signing a lease. For a job scam, contact the company directly through their official website, not through the email or number provided by the suspicious offer. This is particularly vital for avoiding get-rich-quick schemes that boast about unverified testimonials or guaranteed returns. Remember, if they're rushing you, they're likely hiding something you won't have time to discover. Third, hone your language audit skills. Scammers use specific phrases. Listen for, act now or miss out. This is a secret/exclusive opportunity. You can't tell anyone about this. Guaranteed returns. No experience necessary. Huge profits. These are immediate red flags. No legitimate, high-return investment fraud or business coach scam is truly secret, nor does it guarantee outcomes. True financial growth involves risk and due diligence. A particularly insidious phrase you might encounter, especially in Ponzi schemes, is, "I'm offering this to you because you're special/I trust you." This is an attempt to create a personal connection, making you less likely to question the urgency or the opportunity. Fourth, perform an emotion check. When you feel that intense pressure, that gut feeling of urgency, stop. Name the emotion. Are you feeling fear, excitement, greed, desperation? Acknowledge it. Scammers want you to stay in that emotional state. By consciously identifying the emotion, you begin to take back control from your reactive brain and invite your logical brain back into the conversation. Ask yourself, am I making this decision because it's rational or because I'm afraid of missing out? What's one piece of advice you'd give to someone who feels desperate for a financial breakthrough and is being targeted by an urgent offer? Share your wisdom in the comments. Your experience could be invaluable to another viewer. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, seek external counsel. Before committing to anything significant, especially if it involves money, talk to someone you trust, a spouse, a trusted friend, a financial advisor, or even an attorney. A fresh pair of eyes, especially ones not under the immediate pressure of the scammer, can spot inconsistencies you might miss. Scammers isolate their targets because external validation often breaks the spell. If they discourage you from seeking advice, that's your ultimate confirmation it's a scam. Whether it's a suspicious rental scam or a grand Ponzi scheme, an objective second opinion can be your most powerful shield. We've journeyed deep into the playbook of deception, uncovering how the urgency trap is meticulously designed to exploit our deepest psychological vulnerabilities. We've seen it at work in sophisticated investment fraud, deceptive business coach scams, and even everyday threats like rental scams and job scams. But knowledge, as they say, is power. You now understand the scarcity principle, the insidious nature of FOMO, how scammers overload your brain, and how they weaponize hope and desperation. You have a framework for pattern recognition, and more importantly, a robust toolkit for defense. The 24-hour rule, independent verification, the language audit, the emotion check, and seeking external counsel. These aren't just tips, they're your personal blueprint for cognitive immunity against the con. The world of get-rich-quick schemes will always exist, preying on ambition and dreams. But you now possess the most crucial weapon, awareness. By understanding the urgency trap, you're not just protecting your finances, you're protecting your peace of mind, your time, and your future. Before you go, tell me, what's your biggest takeaway from today's deep dive into the urgency trap? Let me know in the comments below. Your thoughts and experiences are vital to building this community of informed individuals. If you found this video insightful, please give it a like. It helps us reach more people and continue our mission. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Broken Blueprint and hit that notification bell so you're always one step ahead of the next deception. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and remember, the best defense is a mind that refuses to be rushed.